Hello. Uh, Before I get into this week's topic, I just want to say how great it was meeting you at Comic Con last week. I know you've mentioned in the past how said you didn't feel like you have fans, you have a lot of internet friends. Uh, I just want to say, in the few minutes we talked, you made me feel that way. You made me feel like I was talking to an old friend, and that's not easy to do with me. So I want to thank you for that, and it was one of the better moments of my vacation. Um, so from that on to abortions and selling baby parts. I wasn't sure I wanted to do this one. I'm not a big fan of the putting myself out there with the controversial topics, but I guess that's part of the whole reason I'm doing this. And turns out my videos aren't like very much anyway. So what's one more bad one? Um, okay, I feel like I was doing a lot of homework for this one. um, and I'll say I am not a medical or legal expert, so if any of my facts are wrong, I'm sorry in advance. Now, I know you said this isn't about abortion, but I think it's hard to get into it without at least stating your opinion on abortion, just so you know where I'm coming from. Well, I'm not going to go into all my reasons, but while do consider I do consider myself a fairly liberal person. I'm not a religious person. I do also consider myself pro-life, but I guess depending on who you talk to, what life is could be different to different people also. So that's up for interpretation. Some people will say, if I may quote Monty Python, every sperm is sacred, and masturbation or contraception is wrong, and I don't go that far, but uh, I would also agree with you where like the partial birth abortion just sounds disgusting, So I did watch both videos. There was obviously a huge difference between the two. Uh, one of the things I got out of it was it made me feel stronger that, like, I guess if I had to say, I would at least push the abortion limit back further, because as she's talking about all these parts, so you said harvesting parts, livers and lungs and stuff, it's hard for me not to think of it as an actual person, just because it hasn't come out of the womb yet. That would be affected the I guess the long video had on me. Watching that and then the short video, and then you got into whether it was slander or not. I know, first of all, you mentioned the news report, the reporter at the beginning, and if you notice, that was a clip from like 2000, and they had a someone from Planned Parenthood on speaking out against selling uh, baby or fetus parts. So I guess they were just trying to show hypocrisy. Um, Other than that, you asked if the video was slander, and okay, so I'm not a legal expert, but from my understanding, slander is you know lying about someone. Where this seemed to be more what I come across as, if I hope I'm using this term right, false light, where it's intentionally misleading someone. I mean, and from what I understand, it's also um, something that you can sue for. Because if you watch the video, she really didn't admit to doing anything illegal. there were a couple of things that were said. I did take a couple of notes this time. Because as for the selling baby parts, there are a couple of quotes that I she had said. You know, it should not be seen as a new revenue stream because that's not what it is, and nobody should be selling tissue. Uh, but there was one quote that could be taken. The one thing she said that I felt could be taken as maybe somebody's doing something illegal is she had said, you know, they want to break even, and if they can do a little better than break even and do so in a way that seems reasonable, they're happy to do that. And just that little line, if they can do a little better than break even, makes it sound like you're now getting away from just making the money back for storage or delivery or whatever to now actually selling the parts. And that's the one part where I feel like she could have been doing something legally wrong. I'm not going to deal with everyone's going to have their own moral or ethical issues with it, but legally, uh, the rest of the stuff I felt like they would take a quote and from her, and then they would put something on the screen about a law to lead you in the direction that she was doing something without her actually saying it. I mean, I felt she never said she did anything wrong. She talked about, you know, with the abortions, how late all these clinics would go up to, and she was generally saying, you know, at least I think the latest I heard her say was, 20 to 22 weeks, where I believe the cutoff is 24. I think she said there might be some out there that go over 24, but I don't think she was involved in that. Uh, they did. They had her talk about, as you mentioned, moving the fetus into breech position uh, to get the organs they wanted intact. And then they went into the partial birth abortion law, but she never said anything about that would make me think she broke that law. From my understanding, the baby has to be alive when the head is out, or the feet, as was it up to the navel, for it to be considered a partial birth abortion. And my understanding, they are basically abortion. They're killing the baby or fetus or whatever in the womb. So if you turn around at that point, take it out, it's not. It that would not. I don't think that would qualify. Again, I could be wrong. And I guess the one positive I took out of this is, regardless of my feelings on abortion, if it is going to be legal, I am happy to see, I guess this happen. That maybe it shouldn't be sold, but that it's going to medical research, and hopefully we can benefit some way from your side. Society can benefit from it in some way. Cure for whatever diseases or whatever. And hopefully some good comes out of it. So I guess that's just some of my thoughts on the whole selling baby body parts thing. I don't know. All right. Bye. And again, it was great to meet you. All right. Bye.